So, just continuing on, we have our neck in position and we have this area at the back. The dress is frozen, so that's not going to simulate, but the other cloth will interact with it. So let's just simulate the neck. There we go, that's just wrapped around that neck area. And again, we've got the issue of the polygons here being inverted. So I'm going to turn off the simulation, reset those neck joints, those neck patterns. I'm going to flip that back horizontally, and then in this window, I'm going to flip that horizontally instead. Let's simulate that again. And that's flipped that round, so that's the right way around. So now we want this to attach to the bottom here, but we don't want it to attach all the way around. So we need to add in a couple of extra panels in here. So let's select this bottom edge there. And we're just going to split this. Now if you're not sure how many you want to split by, it does update in the viewport. So we maybe just want it to update 3 times like that. So we just want to split it 3 times. And now what we can do is sew this here to the middle there. We can see it updating here. Now again, that's twisted around there, but what we can do is have a look. Reverse sewing. So with the edit sewing button selected, we can select there and we can reverse the sewing there, and that just fixes that. It may look weird when we simulate it now, but we'll see how it goes. It's because of the orientation of things in here. What you can also see is with the edit sewing button on, we have these options here where we can edit the fold strength and the fold angle too, but we'll leave those as default for now. So let's reactivate this, and then if we simulate that, this will come in and drop down her back. Now you can see we're having a bit of confusion here, and it is interacting, but if you remember, we need to also set up our layers. So that is falling through, and that I suspect is set to layer 0. Yep. So let's look what our top skirt is set at, layer 1. Now this needs to go over the top of that. So if we set that to layer 2, resimulate, that just comes through, falls down nicely. Now it's not big enough. So now we've got it in, we can come in and just play around with this. So let's make that a lot longer. Let's even make it wider at the bottom. That may be not long enough, but let's just reset the pattern. Now this other button here, I've not mentioned this before, but this reset 3D arrangement will put them back to the position that you've moved them to. This button will reset them back to their default positions. Now I'm not going to do that because I don't want to have to reposition all these again, but just something to keep in mind. Let's resimulate this. So this will drop down. And again, we could go even longer with that if we wanted to. What we could also do is on her neck, just like we added in these elastic lines here, just do the same around her neck, just to give it a little bit more shape and interest. Now, I'm not going to spend ages tweaking the shape here. We've got the basic shape in place, so we can play around with that as much as we like. But what I'm going to do now is just use this and create the sections at either side. So I'm just going to duplicate and copy. Oh, wrong button. Copy and paste. And we'll move this down here. Rotate it clockwise. Now this needs to be smaller, so let's just, again, we're snapping to the grid. I'm just doing this quite rough and quick. Can sync that up. So just roughly like that. And this has now appeared down here. So what we could do is just go in and select these panels and just freeze those as well. I can then reset this panel, and we know we want it to come off the side of the skirt. So we'll rotate that round, just put it in a rough position. Now because we duplicated it, it's set to that layer 2 as well. So now we know this panel here, we can select it and just double check. That's right there. So we want this sewing to the bottom of here. Let's sew this to there. Now let's simulate that. And there we've just added an extra bit of detail to the side too. Now ideally we would re-simulate the whole dress, or at the very least the whole skirt area, as well as this neck part here. But I'm going to leave you now to just play around with the dress as a whole really. Add in any extra parts that you feel, tweak these as much as you like. We did briefly touch on fabrics previously, but don't worry about those for now, because what I'm going to do in the next video is I'm going to do a bit of a recap really, and we'll go over the fabrics. I'll apply them all again, and just talk you through them a bit more about what they are and how to use them. But for now, just add in the extra panel there onto her left hand side, onto her left hip. Play around with the shape of the dress as a whole, and then next we'll look at fabrics and start to look at textures and shading and things like that.